Kendo Podcast episode 148. In this episode, I want to talk about Shodan grading. Kendo Podcast by Hiro from KendoGuide.com. Thank you for listening. This podcast is about Japanese martial arts Kendo for Kendo lovers and supported by Kendo enthusiasts through Patreon.com. Thank you for your support, guys. Please visit KendoGuide.com for more Kendo information and how to support KendoGuide.com. Welcome to Kendo Podcast, episode 148. Now, recently I had an opportunity to be a judging panel of the Shodan exam. And, by the way, I have a new medication, so I feel much better now, thanks to a lot of people worrying about my health. Thank you very much. And then, my doctor, I finally saw my doctor, and they squeezed me in the appointment, and then he gave me new medication, and I feel much better. But I have on a very strong drug, so the first time I was on the drug, man, that was bad. So, anyway, this is the second day on the new medication, so I don't feel shaky now. So maybe my body is got used to it. But anyway, so I was a judging panel for Shodan exam. Because there are a lot of people testing, so we had, I think, 6 courts doing different grading, like 3dan, 4dan, Shodan, 2dan, Q grading, I think. So that was a big grading, and I was in charge of the Shodan exam. And now, so I'm going to talk about only Shodan exam. Now, Shodan, so the difference between EQ and Shodan is that for EQ exam, what you show is you have done very basic of Kendo, right? So you know how to move, you know how to bow. It's showing that you know what you're supposed to do in Kendo, outline. So you know how to bow, taito, 1, 2, 3, draw out your sword, sonkyo, stand up. Okay, maybe it depends on federations. The criteria is different. Criteria as in what you do. For example, give me 3-man strike. Give me 2-man strike. Give me like big man strike, small man strike, kote man strike. Something like that. And then do kirikaishi. For EQ, some federations will ask you to do jigego as well, right? Now, what we look at is, like I said, up to EQ, you have to know what you should be doing in Kendo in general, right? From Shodan, it's more. I'm going to read what you're required for Shodan. Now, if you're curious, I have done some project for Shodan 2dan 3dan exam. It's called Fast Track to Dan exam for adults. And I did all the lecture and I made handouts. So if you're curious about what I say, please join our membership at patreon.com/Kendo4Life. But anyway, this is International Kendo Federation has criteria. And, it's more like All Japan Kendo Federation has criteria. But the English criteria is available by, I think, Alex Bennett sensei translated into English. And it was on Kendo World magazine. It's 6.1, 2011 issue, and page 9. Okay, so for Shodan exam, Shodan is someone who has trained in the basic of Kendo and has acceptable technique. So it's vague. So I have 3 criteria. Now, for myself, so this is maybe what I think Shodan people needs. Maybe it's different from what your teacher your sensei thinks. So please do listen to your sensei, all right? So different people emphasize on different things, but pretty much for Shodan, I think you need to, of course, you have to have good chakso, which is how you wear your keikogen hakama and kendo bogu. You have to know how to wear them neatly, all right? So you don't want to have very bad, you don't want to look like a messy person. So you have to be neat. And reigi saho, etiquette, manner. So you have to show that you have a good manner. You can bow properly. You can do sonkyo properly. All right. All the manner. How you treat your sword is another manner too. Can you do taito properly? Can you draw out your sword properly? Can you put the sword away properly? Right? We're kind of watching all kinds of stuff. Now, it goes through all, shodan, nidan, sandan, yondan, godan, rokudan, naradan, even 8th dan. All right? So they will be looking at those. We're supposed by the time you pass like sandan or yondan, you should be good. But sometimes it's not the case. Okay? So sometimes we have to go back to the basics, which is how you look, etiquette and manner, right? So it goes through your Kendo life. So make sure you know all the things. Now, how you put men on too. If you are familiar with, I call it tenugui tail. When you put men on, and then if your tenugui, the triangle part of the tenugui is coming out, the flapping, you will fail. Because to my understanding, it's not supposed to be like that. Right? Maybe some sensei say different things, but to me, what I was taught, you shouldn't be having that flappy part of tenugui. Okay, so I won't pass. So like I said, different teacher has different teachings, but looking neat is probably have the standard too. So anyway, what are you have to pass Shodan? Technique-wise, I think you need to show that you can at least do kiken taiichi better. You have to be loud, okay? Quiet Shodan is not, we call it black belt, right? In other martial arts, black belt, it's kind of big deal. In Kendo, we don't have black belt. The Shodan is a big deal. So by the time kiai is the basic of Kendo. So if you're not loud enough, it's not very impressive. So if you have a good kiai, right, and kiken taichi, now you're quite likely you're gonna pass. But the other thing is, if you do big strike all the time, nothing wrong with big strikes, but the difference. Now you have entered the new phase of your Kendo. Now you know how to do big strike. Now you have to demonstrate you can strike smaller strike. And a lot of people do big strikes, and then they cannot strike. They cannot get valid cut because they are striking too big. As you know, in Kendo, when we fight, we don't really use big strikes. So if you use big strikes and then you cannot get a valid cut, it's a minus for your sake, right? So it doesn't make you look good because you cannot get valid cut. So start learning smaller cuts, okay? Smaller cuts, doesn't have to be very small. Smaller cuts, and then you do kiken taichi. And with a great kiai, quite likely you will pass, okay? And you start learning smoothness. If you're clumsy, if your toes up and down, whenever you do suriashi, it makes you clumsy, all right? And then I have a doubt that have you studied good footwork? Okay. Now the reason you don't pass, is that all? If I have my right toes or toes up when I do Suriyashi, I'm gonna fail. The reason you fail, I might fail you, is that because you're gonna have a hard time to pass second dan. You're gonna have hard time to pass third dan. Okay, so if your bad habits stay there, it's your disadvantage for your kendo. So actually, I don't really, everyone has to think, okay, at this level, maybe he should get Shodan, but he needs to work on this, right? So hopefully your teacher will fix you by the time you receive second, by the time you go for Nida or next dan. So that's the hope. Okay, so if you pass, doesn't mean you're perfect. Maybe you're 80%, you're maybe 70%, all right? So to pass second dan, you certainly have to be smoother than Shodan, right? And then third dan, it's a one before fourth dan, which you will require to show applied techniques. So your Yondan exam will be more complicated. So you have to by the time you pass third dan, and if you're third dan level, you should be ready to go for fourth dan, right? So you need to know, you have to be smooth. You have to know how to strike how to execute smaller strikes with Kiken Taichi, and you know how to make a valid cut. All right, and then you at least should know you don't do chicken fight. The chicken fight is my sensei used to call those, chickens are just going at them without thinking about opportunities or anything. You just go, right? So my sensei used to call people who's just going at each other, that's a chicken fight. Okay, so for Shodan, maybe you can do chicken fight a little bit, but as you progress, you should understand, that's not really kendo. We have to think about distance. We have to think about timing. We have to think about opportunity. So to the third level, you should know like when to strike. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you should show you understand, that's what we are supposed to do. So, you don't have to, you have to show at the exam, you're showing your progress, and you're showing you are at the level to get third dan or whatever the grade you're going for. Okay, so when you fail, that is telling you is something was lacking. So what something is very difficult to find out, because the judges will they have to see everyone, a lot of people. And that not necessarily you don't really, if you don't know those those examinees, those applicants, if I don't know those applicants personally, I cannot give them advice. So I can make a memo, but not clearly, I don't remember. So sometimes that happens. It's very important for you to, now you can take video, right? You can ask someone to take video of your, your grading. So you can, maybe you can just ask right after your exam. You failed. Right after that, you have to show it to your sensei, for example. Or you have to show it to, can you give me advice? This was me, and then that was you. You maybe your judge, one of your judges or judges will remember you. Maybe they will think that's too much, but I am glad. I will be happy to see your video if I'm there, and then give you advice. So you can work on your kendo straight away. So I think it's very important to know what you should be working on to for your next grading. So now I probably, if you have listened to the podcast and or familiar with my YouTube videos, I recently have you guys to vote on what you want me to do for the March 2019 for the as a project at the members area at patreon.com, and I probably will. I pretty much decided what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use these criteria of done, all right, and I'm gonna use these as a standard or as a criteria of your Kendo improvement, right? And then I'm gonna break them down and make it easier for everyone to understand what you should be working on and how to improve your Kendo based on those criteria. I think that's the best way to make a program, because and then we have this great criteria to work towards, but not many people use those as our daily goals, because it's vague, right? It's vague. So a lot of people just do what they're told to do by sensei, which is good. As long as you listen to your sensei and then you do as he does or she does, as they tell you to do, you should improve. All right. But it's not always the case. And then I know we have limited time. We work and we go to school. A lot of people have family. I know you have limited time. Okay, so I want to make videos. I want to make handouts. I want to make some lists so you can work on it. And this project will be available for all the members at patreon.com. They may be I might put them on YouTube, but not right away, because I want to make sure everything's okay, and I want to make it better and better through patreon.com. So they don't get any advertisement. Okay, at patreon.com you get all the videos have no advertisement, and they have the same video as YouTube, what I upload on YouTube, but they have no ads. All right, and they always get the videos before I make it to the public. So you get all privilege. But anyway, so for the Shodan, that's what I think that you should do. And for Nidan, I have my own opinion about who is going to pass Nidan and what you should be working on. So if you're interested in, please join to the Patreon, patreon.com/Kendo4Life, and make sure I will have the link. But anyway, so if you, for the next exam, good luck if you didn't pass. But always you have a goal in your each training, and talk to your teacher and make a plan and start from there. Okay, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next podcast. I would like to send special thanks to patrons for their constant support through patreons.com/Kendo4Life.